Good morning, students. Welcome back to another video tutorial lesson from the Apex Institute of Mathematics Education for CSEC, CCSLC, SEA and or EDXL exams. In today's video, we're going to be looking at probably one of the most important fundamental principles when it comes to mathematics, and that is in fact, as seen here on screen, the order of operations. And for this particular order of operations, we are going to be using the mnemonic PEMDAS. Now there are many variations and many other mnemonics that other persons come up with as it relates to helping students to know the order of operations, such as GEMDAS, BIDMAS, BOMDAS, BODMAS. They are all the exact same thing, except that it comes down to personal preferences. But before we actually jump into the tutorial, be sure, if you're watching this video for the first time, to smash that subscribe button below and become a part of a family that helps students to become better at math. Leave a like on the video if it is that the content before, and of course this one is of any value to you. Leave some questions and comments, leave your video request, and also leave your thoughts and opinions down into the comment section below. Of course, be sure to click on the title of my video. Check in the description box, you will find information of every form into how you can actually get in contact with me for my live online classes anywhere you are in the Caribbean, or more so in the world. Okay, so let's get into it. I'm going to try to make this particular tutorial here very interesting one, in which we can clear up any ambiguities in terms of your knowledge for this. This is perhaps, as I said, the most important aspect of math, because this is the principle of math that follows you right throughout, right? And this basically, as you can see here, is the order of operations. All right, so do not forget to check the description box below. You will find all information regarding my classes. Let's get into it, guys. So as you're seeing here on screen, that the order of operations tells us, or tells you, the sequence to follow when you are performing operations in a mathematical expression. And so we use the mnemonic PEMDAS, that is P standing for parenthesis, which you will recognize that it looks something like a curved bracket, okay? And occasionally you will see here square brackets, but square brackets are, of course, they're all used for grouping mathematical expressions. The E stands for exponent, which means that a number may be raised to a particular power. M and D stands for multiplication and division respectively. A and S stands for addition and subtraction respectively. Now, it's very important that before we move forward, we have an understanding of what PEMDAS is actually asking us to do. So this basically tells us the order in which the operations must be done, and therefore any operation that involves a bracket, we must complete the operation that is within the bracket, no matter where in the question the bracket is located, followed by exponents. If we happen to see an expression that is raised to a power, then we must simplify that expression to a single value. Now, the issue usually comes in when it comes to multiplication and division and or addition or subtraction, because one of the things that students tend to misunderstand is the precedence. Multiplication and division are tied for precedence. They are of the same importance. So the simplest way to get this message across to you is to simply do the operation that is on the left followed by the operation that is on the right. And this is in the event that the problem to which you're solving contains both multiplication and division. Also, it's the same for addition and subtraction. They are also tied for precedence, so therefore none takes value over any. None of the operations is more important than the other, so therefore it based on which one is on the left followed by which one is on the right. I normally tell my pupils that I work the operation that comes first, so I use the saying first come first serve. Please note that this is only applied only when the mathematical problem to which you're solving contains both multiplication or division and or addition or subtraction. All right, so I do have a few questions here for you to which we are going to be using these principles to apply. Okay, so as the question goes further, we're going to get a little bit more challenging. So let's start off with this very simple problem that we have here, which is in fact a square bracket, 1, take away, open bracket. We have this -3 that is inside a bracket. It's very important that we also isolate a negative number away from a positive number, because sometimes sign clashes can take place during the problem. Plus 4 curve bracket, square bracket times 1. Okay, so obviously we're going to be working from the inner bracket towards the outer bracket. Okay, so here we need to work what is on the inside of this bracket here. Okay, so if we can work what is on the inside of this bracket here, we can rewrite whatever is left. So we'll end up with here 1, take away, open bracket, and then we're going to work out what is in between here. So this is -3 plus 4, and that works out to be +1. Close the bracket, insert your square, put back your square bracket, and multiply it by 1. Very simple so far. So next, now we now have one single value here, but it is squared. So since we're finished with the inner parenthesis, we're then going to go to the exponent, which is e. So then therefore we end up with here, say 1, take away 1 squared, works out to be 1, close the square bracket, multiplied by 1. So the inner parenthesis is gone and the exponent is now gone. We are now left with this outer parenthesis here. So 1 take away 1 is 0, and then 0 multiplied by 1 is in fact 0. Okay, so nice little start off question there. The numbers are pretty simple. Let's move on to another question here. What we have now is 15 take away, open bracket, 2 squared multiplied by 5 plus 10 divided by 5. So what are the operations that we are dealing with? We are dealing with a bunch of operations that is within a parenthesis. We also have subtraction, and we also have division. So we are obviously going to go right ahead and we're going to work out what is inside the parenthesis first. So here, what is inside the parenthesis is multiplication, addition, and exponent. So let's rewrite our 15. We're going to take that away from, and according to what is inside the parenthesis here, we're going to work the exponent followed by the multiplication followed by the addition. E followed by M followed by A. So therefore we're going to say 2 squared is 4. I can go right ahead and you can actually multiply 4 by 5 in this one line if you're an advanced student, but I prefer to take it step by step for the students who may be a little confused if we do too much operations at once. So I've just cleared up my E, that is now gone. I'm then going to go for my multiplication because multiplication appears before addition. So then I have 15 take away open bracket 20 plus 10 divided by 5. So the only time that the parenthesis will go away is when I get a single value. So therefore then what I'll have now is 15 open bracket 20 plus 10, pardon me, it's going to be 15 minus, now the bracket is going to be gone because I'm going to get one single value here. So that's 20 plus 10, that's going to give me 30 divided by 5. Beautiful. Next now we move on to the division, because according to PEMDAS, as you would have seen in the introduction of this video, that division appears before subtraction. So therefore we're going to rewrite the 15 here, and we're going to then say 30 divided by 5 is 6, and that is equal to 9. I believe this looks exactly like the example that we did in my exercise for that particular exam paper. Be sure to check that video out. We went through a variety of different types of math problem in that review. All right, let's move on now to another question, and this very much looks also similar to the question that was given to my students on that exam. So a little recap won't hurt us. Let's first, this is how you approach the question. If you want to get questions like these correct all the time, the first thing you want to do is to take a good observation of the operations that are currently in the problem. Now what we have here is a bunch of brackets. We have brackets written within brackets, written within brackets. So as mentioned to you before, that we work the inner bracket towards the outer bracket. So first, what we're going to be doing then is that we're going to be working this inner bracket first to get the result, to remove that inner bracket. Then we're going to attach that result to 5. Then we're going to square the result last. So let's get through that part of the problem first. Now we're going to have open bracket here, 26 plus 2 multiplied by open bracket 5, take away the result of that inner bracket, which is going to be 3. So 9 divided by 3 is 3. We're going to put back here, or we're going to put, this is now gone, so we have the result here. We're going to put our outer bracket here and put our square bracket like that. Next we're going to have then this inner bracket here. So we're going to have, say here, 26 plus 2 multiplied by 5 take away 3 is going to give us 2. We're going to square that result there. So both inner brackets are gone. We're now left with just the outer bracket. Now we're going to have to operate what is inside that outer bracket. And now what we have here is in fact addition, and we have multiplication, and we also have exponent. Let's go ahead and simplify the E aspect of the problem. So then we have 26 plus 2 multiplied by 4. Now students, if you are an advanced student, meaning that you're at a higher level but you're just looking for some review, of course it is that you can do more than one operations at the same time if you know what you're doing. I do strongly recommend that for students who are a little bit weaker than the average, then you take it one step at a time until you become a much more efficient student. So then therefore what we have now is addition and multiplication. We're then therefore going to say 26 plus the product of 2 times 4, that is 8. So therefore then we end up with 34 for our answer. All right, so nicely done there, very smooth. Hopefully you guys are in fact getting some knowledge and you're becoming more efficient. I do strongly recommend that you do pause the video, work out the problem in your own way. When you've reached a section of the problem that you may be stuck or you may be pause a little bit because you're a little bit confused, then you unpause the video to match my solution with yours. Okay, that's what I strongly recommend if it is that you want to become a more efficient student. Now, those two examples would have been more so, say, a recap, because you would have seen those in the exam paper that I reviewed. Do check that video out. A link will also be placed in the description as well as in the card up here for you. So check that video out. Lots of stuff was discussed in that particular tutorial. Do not forget to check in the description box below. All my information regarding online classes and or practice videos will be available in the playlist and also in the description, so definitely check that out, guys. Lots of information is there. Moving on next to this particular problem here. All right, and a lot of the times students may get a little bit spooked by the appearance of the question, but if you approach the question from a strategic perspective, then you'll find that you get to your solution easier than you can imagine. Now, what are we looking at? We are in fact looking at addition, we're looking at subtraction, we're looking at exponents, we're looking at multiplication, we're looking at division, we're looking at parenthesis. So, and we're looking at division again inside the parenthesis, we're looking at E. So, a bunch of stuff is happening here. Now, how do we start this problem? We start off by what PEMDAS tells us to do. PEMDAS tells us that we must evaluate what is inside any parenthesis that may be in the problem. So I do recommend that we go ahead and we rewrite all the values that are not currently being operated. So 5 plus 10, take away 2 cubes. If you wanted to, you could have also worked out 2 cubes already, because that won't affect your problem. But let's just take it step at a time. Multiplied by 3, divided by, and we're going to work out what is in this parenthesis here. We're going to have 4 squared. Obviously, exponent comes before division. So 4 squared is in fact 16 divided by 16. As I said, guys, you can in fact work this out to get one single answer to save yourself a bunch of different lines. But this is for the student who may be a little bit confused as it relates to taking multiple steps at the same time. 5 plus 10, take away 2 cubes, multiplied by 3, divided by, now I'm about to get one single value for my answer inside the bracket. The bracket can now disappear. So that 16 divided by 16 is in fact 1. Now, what do we have? The parenthesis is gone. Let's look to see if there's any exponent. In fact, there's an exponent here. So we can say 5 plus 10, take away 2 cubes means 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2. And on your calculator, you'll find that your answer works out to be 8 multiplied by 3 divided by 1. Beautiful. Next now, multiplication and division appears in the same question. So they are tied for precedence, which means that none takes value or none takes the importance over the other. So we work which one is on the left side first. So in this case here we have 5 plus 10, take away 8 multiplied by 3 is 24 divided by 1. Therefore then we now have division. Let's go up here. We're gonna have 5 plus 10, take away 24 divided by 1 is 24. So therefore now we have addition and subtraction. They are tied for precedence. Addition is on the left, subtraction is on the right. So we therefore say 15 take away 24, and our final result here works out to be -9. So as mentioned before, guys, we don't have to make the problem this long. I choose to do the problem in this way because of course we are taking it step at a time so we can master and concrete our fundamentals. When you get very good at this, then you'll be able to do more than one operations at the same time. Let's move on to some more questions here. I do have quite a few here for you, and I have a couple more. Well, okay, this would be my last page. So let's wrap these questions up and bring us to the end of this particular tutorial, which I hope will be very valuable for you at the end. Let's move on to this next question here. We have 6 multiplied by 2, take away 6 divided by negative 2, close bracket, squared. So once again, we end up with a particular problem here where we're finding that we have brackets within brackets. Now, this is not necessarily a operational bracket. We are pretty much distinguishing the negative 2 from the negative 6, or from the positive 6 here. Well, the negative 6 here. So what we're going to be doing here is that we're going to be doing what is inside this particular parenthesis here. This is the one that is of focus. So here we have subtraction and we have division. So we're going to say here 6 multiplied by open bracket 2, and we're going to be dividing the negative 6 by the negative 2. Please note that this is not a positive 6. This is in fact a negative 6. Now, if you make a mistake and you say 6 divided by negative 2, then you'll end up with a negative 3. So let's just pause a little bit to show what can happen if you make that error. 2, take away, assuming that the 6 is positive, then 6 divided by negative 2 in fact becomes negative 3. So you've created here what is known, or what I call, a sign clash, which you're going to have to evaluate. And then you're going to see here squared. So you will have to remember that a negative multiplied, implied multiplication, a negative clashed or multiplied with a negative gives a positive. So you'll end up with 2 plus 3, which works out to be 5. I particularly do not like if you do it that way. I particularly like if you look at the number for what it is. So here, instead of having 2 minus and the result of 6 divided by minus 2, I can simply say negative 6 divided by negative 2, and negative divided by a negative is a positive. This also saves time. 6 divided by 2 is easily 3. So you won't have to deal with that sign clash. Next, we say 6 multiplied by 5 squared, because 2 plus 3 is 5, and we're going to be squaring that particular value inside that bracket. Next then, we have 6 multiplied by 25. So therefore then, we end up with a final result here of 150. Beautiful. Next then, we have, let's see what we have here. I think I may have made an error. Okay, I think I was trying to create some space here. Okay, so I really should have had 13 take away. Right, so this was the actual problem. I was trying to rewrite it to create space. So this is the actual problem. We have 13 take away, open bracket, 1 multiplied by negative 6 squared plus 5. Sort of similar to the one that we just did. Just very similar. So let's see how we approach. Once again, we have a little bracket inside here that is we have a number, a negative number that is isolated because it's negative to be squared. Now, for the students who are using calculator or maybe struggling with your timetable, then of course, when you're using your calculator, it's very important that you know how to use your calculator. Now, if you do not insert the brackets on the calculator and you are to type in, and I would like you to try it for me as I'm talking through this video, if you type negative 6 squared on your calculator, it will tell you that the answer is minus 36. That is if you do not insert the bracket. So if you're using your calculator, be sure to insert the bracket so you can get the correct answer of positive 36. Or simply put, the moment or the mere fact that you are squaring a number, it's most likely will be a positive result. So it doesn't matter if it's positive squared or negative squared, it's going to be a positive result. So it's very important you know that this answer is always and will always be a positive 36. Here plus 5. Now what we have next is 13, take away, we're going to work out what is inside here. 1 times 36 is in fact 36 plus 5. Now we have subtraction and addition, and as mentioned before, when we have operations that are tied for precedence, then we do the one that is on the left followed by the one that is on the right. So 13 take away 36 will in fact give us negative 23 plus 5, and this evaluates to negative 18. All right, I will have a fundamental video coming out that talks about how to work out negative and positive numbers, and a very unique way of looking at it if you're at the fundamental level. My channel primarily based on helping students to become stronger fundamentally in their math skills. So look out for my integer video by subscribing to the channel and await the notification. 2 more questions. Let's wrap this up, guys. Let's get right out of this video here. We have negative 2 raised to the power of 5 plus open bracket 12 take away 8 divided by 4 squared. So what do we have here? We have exponent and we have parenthesis. Well, in fact, yes, we have parenthesis with an exponent. So let's try to up our game a little bit in terms of applying the advanced level. Here we can, even though we know that E appears before, E appears after parenthesis, this is an independent problem by itself. It will not be affected by what is over here. So I can go ahead here and I can in fact raise this number to the power of 5. Now on your calculator, you should, if you're not aware, that you have a button that looks like this, or for some calculators you'll have a button that says x to the y, or you may have a button with 2 empty boxes here. Okay, so depending on the calculator you're using, then one of these buttons will help you to raise any number, decimal or fraction, to any given degree of power. So here, negative 2 to the 5 means negative 2 multiplied by itself 5 times. Now, an advanced student will know that if it is that you raise a negative number to an odd power, the result is going to be an odd answer. So 2 multiplied by itself 5 times gives us the result of 32. Plus, we're going to work out what is inside the parenthesis here. So inside the parenthesis, we're dealing with subtraction and we're dealing with division. Be very careful not to get swayed or be tempted. Be sure to follow the principle of PEMDAS. So we're going to go right ahead here. We're going to divide before we subtract. So negative 8 divided by 4 gives negative 2, and then we're going to square the result. Now we end up with negative 32, and now we have plus 12 take away 2 is going to be 10 squared. The brackets can now go because we get one single value for what is inside the parenthesis. Now finally, what we end up with is negative 32 plus 100. 10 squared means 10 multiplied by 10. So therefore, we get a final answer here of negative 68. Okay, beautiful. All right, and now we're at our final question here. I do hope that at this point, any ambiguity in your understanding of PEMDAS would have already been cleared up, and so you can go on to actually get more practice to improve and get stronger in your fundamentals. Let's wrap this one up, guys. Now we have 3 in bracket plus inner bracket 14 divided by 7 take away open bracket, isolating the negative 4 away from this negative, squared close bracket plus 1. Again, many of you students that are at the fundamental level can get a little bit spooked by the amount of brackets. Once again, the rule is work and simplify the inner bracket first. So here we have this bracket here, and we have to simplify the exponent that is within this bracket here. So let's go ahead, take it step at a time. 3 plus, open bracket, 14 divided by 7, take away, and we're going to square the -4. Now, just as discussed before, in this example, when you square a negative number, you're going to get a positive result. Now we are raising a negative number to an even power, so the result is going to be positive. So that's going to be 16. Okay, so it becomes positive 16, but the positive 16 lands in front of the negative that was already there. I find that a couple of students may make the mistake by saying negative multiplied by negative and then squaring the result. We can't do that because we'll be breaking the rule of PEMDAS, where we are multiplying or we are distributing a negative before the exponent. So that's breaking the rule. Nevertheless, this is where we're at. We're going to be then squaring, and then we're going to be putting here plus 1, because this inner bracket now is gone and we're left with this outer bracket here, here, and here. Okay, now we're still within the inner bracket here, so we have here. Okay, I think I even left out a bracket here. Okay, plus 1. So now we have 3 plus, so 3 plus, and we have 14 divided by 7, take away 16. So 14 divided by 7 is in fact 2, take away 16. Be sure to put this back in a bracket because it is being squared. Okay, then we're gonna have here plus 1. Do not forget to put back your bracket. The only time the outer or inner bracket is gone is when we get a single value. Now what we have here is 3 plus 2 minus 16, that's -14. So 2 minus 16 is -14, and that's going to be squared here plus 1. All right, so next then what do we have? We then now have final step 3 plus, and we're going to be squaring once again a negative value. Squaring this, we should get 196 here plus 1. Now we're going to be adding here, this is 199, and 199 plus 1 is in fact 200. All right, so I do find that this video would have comprehensively covered each and every area of the application of the PEMDAS rule. I do hope that the video was of some value to you. Do not forget to hit the like button. It helps the channel to grow. Leave your comments, suggestions, video requests, and or opinions on the problems. Of course, I will leave a link in the description box below to which you can find practice questions, online practice questions. These questions were attained from a site, I Practice Math. It's a online resource where when you click on the link, it gives you a certain time frame in which you can work out the problem and submit your answer. Do check it out. It is very, 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 very useful. All right, again, there's a lot of information that is in my description box below, my WhatsApp contact, my catalog of services that I offer. I also offer personal tutorials, my Facebook, social media handles. Everything is in the description box below, so check that out. Follow me on all social media platforms. You'll get a chance to see a wide variety of math tutorials and math background videos. All right, until next time, take care. Do not forget to smash the subscribe button below and turn on your post notification bell. So until then, I'll see you in the next tutorial. Take care. Bye bye.